Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today, our webinar is focused on the ventilation, and I am QAYYUM from HICO. HICO is Hamza, Imran and Company, and also we started the HICO Poultry Houses Consultant, a livestock and poultry education school. And in our advanced courses, also we start the training of the controllers and lot of gadgets. We have a simulators, and I maybe you watch our videos and like this. So today our webinar and on ventilation, and my honorable guest is Mr. Grant Shepherd from South Africa. 30 years, yes, he is driving in this circle from 30 years, and he has a lot of experience. And please meet Mr. Grant Shepherd. So please meet with Mr. Grant Shepherd, a senior poultry consultant. Welcome, Mr. Shepherd. Welcome to our webinar, our HICO platform, our webinar on ventilation. Thank you very much for your coming. Please let us know that you please introduce yourself, your working experience, and how long time you are working in this field, and where you work, and on which breed you are work in, and in which areas you work. Please let us know.
Thank you very much, IMRAN, for that introduction, and thank you for inviting me to discuss this can be a very hot topic in debates, ventilation. Yes, I've had 30 years experience within poultry. A great majority of it has been dealing with ventilation, from the early ventilated houses that we had through the years that I've been working on various farms. Technology has changed. There's no doubt about it that we are nearing the, I think we know that with climate change throughout the world, it is our challenge to ensure optimum ventilation in poultry houses. I've worked in layers, mostly on layers, not in broilers or broiler breeders. So I don't have the information regarding that, but layers I certainly can assist in. Through my experience is mostly in South Africa. I did a lot of work here in South Africa. I worked on a fairly large farm here, which was developed into 1 million layers, and it was all environmentally controlled, for the exception that it did not have cooling systems. When I say cooling systems, I'm talking mist sprayers or cooling pads. On my journey from there, I went up to Nigeria, to a very modern farm there, which was Big Dutchman installation, and all houses were environmentally controlled. They had cooling systems, wet pads, and they were fully automated. I think in trying to help get what we require, airflow through houses, there's a number of factors which one needs to look at and discuss. And I think if I can start by saying the optimum ventilation, this would mean attention to detail in the likes of management, a house design, the size of it, whether it's got broilers, whether it's got layers, whether it's got broiler breeders, the type of cages which we're dealing with, whether it's a cage which has fixed partitions or cage partitions, and also the stocking densities of these houses. Very important to ventilation. And then one other point that I'd like to we'll discuss later are the emergency systems which accompany ventilated houses or these environmentally controlled houses. As we are all in a situation where power might be a problem and you can have a power outage, how do we continue ventilating these birds?
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Really is very surprised that 30 years and you are from South Africa, but you did a lot of jobs in different countries, and especially your focus is on the layer cages forms. So let us know that what is the ventilation, especially and layers. What is the ventilation? What are the benefits of the ventilations? Please let us know, sir.
All right. As we well know, cooling of the birds is crucial to the genetic performance of any bird. The outside temperatures, if you get an outside temperature of over 25 degrees Celsius, already this has an impact on the performance of the bird in production. And if you have temperatures over 30 degrees Celsius, this can lead to huge losses. And sometimes, as well as this is due to normally can be due to high humidity. So the importance of trying to get airflow through environmentally controlled houses evenly spread and correctly at the correct meters per second is vital in order to get the maximum out of a chicken. With this in mind, air speeds of up to 3.5 meters per second, usually with pad cooling, can lower the felt or the wind chill factor by approximately 6 to 12 degrees Celsius. This is an important factor which one has to consider as we are trying to get the birds to produce at maximum production continually through their life cycle. Within the differences of house designs, I have come across 3 different types, and they were tunnel ventilation with gable fans, cross ventilation, and a combi tunnel with chimney fans and gable fans. I've worked with 2 of the 3 out of that. What is required is an evenly high airspeed throughout the house. This can be achieved if the house is airtight without any leaks in it. A difference, if there are leaks in a house, and this is where you're asking, how do we get these air speeds? If there are leaks in a house, you may have a difference of 2.5 meters per second in the front of the house, and in the rear of the house, 3.5 meters per second. Now, that's one of the management criteria which I talk about, is in ensuring that these houses are airtight in order to get the flow of air through.
What to do for the airtight? What to do? How can we assess and how can we consider that our house is airtight? Let us know also, please.
Right. There are a number of areas which in a layer house one needs to look at. If you have curtains on the side, let's start with the curtains. If you have curtains on the side, they may be torn or they may be hanging and not sealed correctly against the building. In other words, when the fans are switched on, there's a suction through or maybe from these curtains on the side. So that's important to ensure that there's no airflow from those curtains. The second point to be taken into consideration would be your fans. Your fans are, I know that everybody says, but the fans are working. How do we know that the fans are working if they are not working at optimal speeds? And therefore you look at the V belts or the bearings or the motors on a regular basis, at regular times. The next point I'd like to bring to is the fact of getting air through the house via the air pads or cooling pads. Now, as we well know, many farms in the world have poor quality water. They have minerals in them, which, like lime, which can clog up these pads and diminish the speed of air going through them very quickly if they're not checked. One of the things which I did work with was with paper pads and plastic. And one of the things that people ask is, which is the preferable of the plastic or the paper? My preference personally is plastic. Hence, why is because they can be cleaned quicker and more effectively. This is one of the things which I noted when I was in Nigeria, was the cooling pad systems that we had. Dust forms in them, as well as the mineral deposits from the water, clogging them up. So there's the areas which I have pinpointed in which to get air, to ensure that air comes through freely. As long as you've got the airflow going through freely and it's all open, you then have to look at your speeds and why you're not getting your maximum speeds. Imran, you mentioned 3.5 meters per second. I would agree with you on that, on 3.5 meters per second in layers. And again, stocking densities have a large impact on this. Many farmers, and I did consult for one farmer, when he asked me, he said to me he has a problem with high mortality, and he said his productions are not good, but they're not bad. And I got to the farm and I said to him, no problem, they were also environmentally controlled. On going through the farm, on through their houses, I noted that the cages had 9 birds per cage. These cages were designed for 5 birds per cage. Now, automatically, you're putting strain, as you well know, on the existing ventilation system designed for 5 birds.
Obviously,
I'm asking the farmer why. I asked him, I said to him, but why do you put, the egg prices are good and I need more eggs. Well, I had to inform him that his production must be very poor with those 9 birds. And when I looked into his records, I was horrified to find that his average was 65% production due to overstocking of the house. Not only that, that put huge pressure on the system of the ventilation, as you can well imagine. And that was another reflection of the poor production and high mortality.
yes, that's very good. Thank you very much for this brief answer. Thank you very much, Mr. Grant-Poultry from South Africa.